Hey, I'm Candace, your host, and if you're ready to grow your business and build your authority by getting booked on podcasts, I've got something special for you. I'm launching a brand new course that will walk you through exactly how to get booked on podcasts. Everything from identifying the right shows to pitching, preparing for interviews, and leveraging your guest appearances for growth. Plus, if you sign up for the waitlist now, you'll get early access to the course and these special bonuses. When you officially enroll in the course, you'll save $50 and get a free one-on-one strategy call with me to help you prep your speaking points and align your offers. These bonuses are limited and end on April 13th, so make sure to sign up today. Head to the link in the show notes to join and get started on your podcast guesting journey. I can't wait to help you get booked and start sharing your message with the world. Now let's dive into today's episode. Oh, hi. It's Candace here. I'm back with a solo episode. And today I want to talk about the Babble, because I think there's a lot of stereotypes or things that are ingrained in us, especially as women, that when we're babbling, I'm kind of doing air quotes around it. You can't see it. Obviously, you're listening to a podcast. But when we're babbling, our gut instinct is to apologize for that. And, I'm just babbling. It is kind of turned into this thing that has kind of a negative connotation behind it as far as the word itself and what it means to babble. But I want to tell you about some very interesting babble that has happened to me in the last month or so. And that's when I've been working with my clients. We have switched over now into doing more of a voice messaging on demand type style instead of having just set calls, having more of that on demand access for ongoing questions and things like that, and more access and longer access to me as your coach. And what was happening was clients were sending me messages saying, talking, then kind of apologizing. I think I'm just babbling now. But what was happening was all kinds of clarity, answers, next steps. All this amazingness was coming from the babble. But our gut instinct is to apologize for it and is to think, I should stop. I've talked too much. I've sent too many messages. I've taken up too much of this conversation. But when you are working on your next steps, your goals, your dreams, launching something, you have to have the babble. You have to take up space in the room. You have to have a space where you can talk these things through, word vomit, because the answer is always within you. But let me tell you, when I babble with my closest friends, now when you find this space that you can babble with, and if you don't have a space like this yet, I'm here for you. Book a week, book a month with me. Great things are going to happen, 100%. But when you find people who hold this space for you and allow for your babble and are a safe, non-judgmental space for you to babble, you've got to hold on to those people because they are special. When I babble to them, typically I answer my own question before I'm done because it comes out. But I will tell you that I could have sat in my own thoughts, in my own head for days about this particular topic or question or what should I do for days and cannot get the answer to surface. But as soon as I start babbling in this safe space to these non-judgmental people who are not going to think my ideas are crazy, who are going to question them, but in a really positive, productive way, the answers fall out. And I think that's pretty cool. But sometimes it feels like those answers are like locked in a vault within us, which is why you need this time. You need this time with people who are safe and non-judgmental, who will help and listen and hold the space for you because it's your time. If you have things that are just sitting on your heart, sitting in your brain, I can't tell you how many October clients I had that was like, I've had things sitting on my heart for weeks, for months. One even said for years. And we had just a couple calls and bam, things were coming together. She was now taking action. Without that, though, without that clarity, it's hard to take action. So when you have that clarity, once those things come to fruition and the vault is unlocked and it comes out, what you can then do is start working through my 5-step process. And really, you're going to do the first 3 steps. So you can start brain dumping. Once that comes out, brain dump things out. Now, sometimes if you were trying to do a brain dump, which is just simply writing any thoughts that are in your head out onto paper so you can kind of free up that brain space. I have done brain dumps before where I do specifically around my goals, or I'll do a brain dump that's specific to what do we have going on this week that I, as the mother and the person in charge in the house, have to remember and write out. I like to do those on Sundays. Helps me sleep when I know that I have this game plan. I know it's coming. But anyways, back to the ones where if you're writing specifically about your goals and things, and if you've never done a brain dump, I would suggest just doing one where you're trying to write anything that's in your head out. That could be all of it combined. Maybe you have grocery lists in your head, to-dos, things you want to learn, goals. Jot that all down as your first one, but then go back maybe a day or two later and maybe start just brain dumping about your goals, like anything that comes to mind that has to do with any of the things that are on your heart. You know what they are. And just let those fall out. But sometimes, like I said, it's going to feel like things are locked in a vault. So maybe you have like the big idea, but then when you're working through the process, the next step is to prioritize. So everything on that list can't be done at once. I just was working with a client, Anna. She had just about 10 plus ideas. And it's like, okay, these are all amazing and these totally can all happen. Let's back up and pick the one that's going to happen first. Pick the one that's going to be what we launch immediately. What can we handle right now in your regular life? Because most of us are still working a 9 to 5, or we're still living a life where we're in charge of a lot of things. And so time is limited in this way. So we need to, yes, shoot for the stars, whatever, all that goodness, but let's also find some realistic pieces in there, because when we make these massive, massive end goals and put a timeline on it and say, like, by this time, what tends to happen, I've noticed, is one, we can be overwhelmed at the thought of, I'm not going to be able to get all that done in that amount of time. Two, you can start to resent the people around you, that your kids and things that you have to take care of and take up your time where you don't have time to spend on the thing where you're gunning for. You can get burnt out. Hello, burnout is real. You do not want to experience that. If we can prioritize one or two things that are going to happen right now, let those things take place. When those are done or they're almost done, let's add then the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It doesn't mean we're going to not go for those goals. It just means we need to be strategic about it. And we can't work on 50 things at one time. None of them are going to be done well. And then when you get to the breakdown step, that's my third step. Okay, right? Brain dump. Step 1. Step 2 is prioritize. And step 3 is breakdown. So you're going to break down those things that you pick that you're going to work on right now. And you're trying to make them as small as possible so that your brain doesn't fight you on the big changes that come with these things. Because remember, our brain wants to keep us safe. That's how it's designed. Change and the unknown is not safe to our brain. And so if you can break your big end goal down into tiny bite-sized pieces, the less likely that you're going to have as much pushback from your brain that's trying to keep you safe, right? Now, when you're in the breakdown stage and you are having trouble with figuring out, well, what are all the steps? I can get this far, but I don't know what happens next. This is when the babble comes back into play, right? The babble could happen during the brain dump. The babble could happen during the breakdown. Babble this out. Talk this out with a safe space, like we were just saying. This is a great time to hire a coach like me or someone else that you trust, or just find some friends that are, like I said, again, make sure they're safe and non-judgmental and are not going to just breathe doubt down your throat, because that's not what you need right now. When you find that space and you can get that babbling out, you're going to figure out the next steps. They're going to help brainstorm. They're going to ask the right questions that are going to get you thinking. And just trust that this is on your heart for a reason. When you get to it, you will figure out what to do next. You would not have this on your heart if you didn't have the ability to make it happen or to do it. And you have to trust that. And that's just like blind faith. You just got to follow the nudge. If it feels right, you have to trust in that, trust in your knowing, trust in your intuition, that's the nudge and that's the direction to go. You do not need to know the end result, right? You can have an idea. You can think that your one goal or your big picture, that's your end result. Oftentimes that's not what the end is. This is the first door that's opening that you get to see. You don't get to see usually the other ones until you walk through this one. Then the next one will appear and the next one will appear. And that's when the magic starts happening, the momentum starts happening. You're going to find yourself in a much different space than you are right now. And I hope that this quick episode was just life-giving and just permission for you to babble and quit apologizing for this, because we apologize for too many things as humans and as women especially. And it's time we take up space and go after our dreams and our goals, because the world is waiting for you, sister. Got it? Okay. Have a better Brave Day. Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready for podcast mentoring, whether it's setup, editing, planning, or guesting, you can book a one-on-one call with me through the link in the show notes. I hope you feel seen, inspired, and like your dreams and goals are completely valid, because they are. See you next Tuesday.